Good afternoon, everybody. This is my first video having to do with my Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader costume that I finally got all put together. Talking on the threads, reading how everybody did their sound systems, their voice modulators. I followed pretty much what Jake Sloan up in Alaska Garrison said, and I'll show you my setup, and then we'll do a quick sound check and show you what it sounds like for me. So anyway, with my Anovos armor piece, I used 3 transducers. Jake uses the transducers. I use 3, one for each side for the voice, and then the center one here for the breathing. And we did that because if we just used the 2 outer ones for both the voice and the speaker, it couldn't play both. And I discussed this on the forums, and other people had the problems also but didn't know how to fix it either. What would happen is you'd start the breathing and it would be fine, but then when you spoke, the moment you spoke, it would cut the sound off for the breathing, but it wouldn't come back on. So it would have been cool if it cut off just when you were speaking, but it didn't work that way. So we just said screw it and ran its own line to the iPod right there. So if I'd have done it, had it to do again, I would have color-coded, used a completely different color wire for the iPod and one for the speakers, but I didn't, so the best I could do right now is just cover the connector with black tape so I could identify it easier. So anyway, the Anovos armor has this padding behind it. I've seen other people's that doesn't have it, and I don't know if theirs came with it and they just took it off for simplicity's sake, but what I did to attach the transducers is I cut the fabric out and then attached it to the back of the armor with pretty decent automotive double-sided tape. I have some of this on my car for a couple of things, and the stuff does not come off, without you actually taking it off, so it stays there pretty well. And then I just taped, the excess wire with Gorilla tape, which works pretty well. Again, it holds it there, but if I needed to, I could take it off, and it doesn't really harm the fabric. And then it goes up over the shoulder to go over my back. I'm using the Zoom multi-stomp because couldn't get a Realm FX Revo anywhere because they don't make those. And so this is what I did, and you can see I've got it as Vader 01 as its own setting. And I'm glad that there's a tutorial somebody put out yesterday or the day before about how to program this, because it was a pain in the butt. It was a very trial and error figuring out how to do that. And then, as explained, you need to use, I was explained by somebody else on a YouTube video, and I can't remember who, sorry for no credit. You have to use this power source for your mic, if your microphone doesn't have its own power source. So this goes in, this is for into the Zoom, and then coming out, and I've just, tidied up the wiring just to get rid of the excess wiring. I'm using the amplifier board that Jake mentioned in his video for my amplifier, and then I put it in this this little kit box here. Drilled a couple holes so I could put my inputs. This, as you can see, is speaker in coming from the armor. This is into or out from the iPod to the speakers, and then this is in from the modulator from the Zoom pedal, and this is your power and volume, and this is your battery. So I've done that. As I've seen in other videos, people have the mic separate, or it's part of their body costume. I have opted, and this doesn't have to do it this way, but I have opted to, let's see if I can get some good light in there, just set my microphone inside by my fan, and it's actually, will you stay? And it's actually, the wire is taped here just to keep it out of my face, but the mic itself is just resting behind this wire for the fan. So I could remove that real easy if I want, but this position really makes it perfect. My mouth, when the mask is on, my mouth is right up against that, and so it's right in the perfect position. And then what I've done is I've used this type of fan because I'm too afraid to cut holes in the top of my helmet like Jake Sloan did. And then that's just powered by a 9-volt battery that, again, with Gorilla Tape is stuck here, and very simply push that and it's on. And so it's sucking air in from the front of the mask and blowing it right up in front of my eyes and right up in the front of my face, which keeps it cool and nice and airy. So give me a moment and we'll do a sound check here. Be right back.